Charlie Watts, the longtime drummer of the Rolling Stones, passed away yesterday at the age of 80. And we wanted to learn a little bit more about the man. So we were joined by a friend of the show, a musicologist, Eric Alper, who I know his phone is ringing off the hook because everybody wants to talk to Eric, because everybody wants to hear more about Charlie Watts. Thanks for taking some time, Eric.
Oh, happy to do it. Great to always talk.
What do you think when I say Charlie Watts?
Well, today is still and continues to be a really sad day in music and rock and roll. You know, these musicians aren't supposed to die. I mean, that's the thing that you know, Charlie was probably out of all of them the one member of the band that shunned that showbiz rock and roll lifestyle more than any other person there. You know, we don't expect Keith Richards to ever pass away, but I think with Charlie Watts, I think that he was one of those guys that was absolutely the heartbeat of the world's greatest rock and roll band. He's been a part of that band since 1964, has never missed a show except for the upcoming No Filter US tour. And I think a lot of music fans and a lot of people in the industry are shocked because, you know, like I said, it's so sudden, and you realize how great he really was. And like everything else, you know, the music will always live on long after we're all here.
So we're seeing some photos from a friend of mine and music photographer Rich Beland, and he passed me a quote from Bruce Springsteen, and this is an old quote that Bruce said: "As much as Mick's voice and Keith's guitar, Charlie Watts' snare sound is the Rolling Stones. When Mick sings, it's only rock and roll, but I like it. Charlie's in the back, showing you why." Why, or how instrumental to the sound was Charlie?
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, when you're in a band with Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, and you can still be the coolest guy in the band, that's still saying a lot. But what he did in the group was very deceptively simple from his jazz background. I mean, he didn't really like rock and roll to begin with, but most drummers will tell you that Charlie's playing was brilliant. You know, just those little hiccups and those jazz feels and those nuances that he did with the music makes it really the reason why the Rolling Stones are the Rolling Stones. Anybody else in that group to replace Charlie just becomes another rock and roll band. But the fact that he came from a very diverse background allowed the group to be that much different. You know, in fact, I've always kind of believed this, and if you've ever seen the Stones live, you'll know this to be true. I think the rest of the Stones try to impress Charlie Watts rather than the other way around. They try to keep up with him in terms of songs like Midnight Rambler and Start Me Up and so many other great classics.
How many times have you seen them, Eric?
36. I counted
36?
Yeah. You know, look, when the Rolling Stones come, it's not just another concert. It's a feeling. It's blinking. You know, you kind of have to go see them because they're everything that is good and the essence of music. That combination of people all being together, and just watching a band that nobody thought would last longer than a year, and 65 years later, here they still are.
Well, we have to go on this, but will we see them play again? Can there still be a Rolling Stones without Charlie Watts?
Yeah, although Mick and Keith has said no Charlie, no Stones, they definitely kind of, you know, gotten a little lighter on that kind of stand. I think you'll see them again. I think it might take some time. Nobody would begrudge them if they decide to move, you know, the tour up a little bit. But more importantly, they just didn't lose a drummer. They lost one of their best friends for the last 60, 65 years, and that's kind of hurt.